For the first time this season, the Buckeyes are not the unanimous #1 team in the nation, but after defeating the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors 38-0, they are focused on their Saturday matchup against Northern Illinois Huskies. We are talking about it right here. Welcome to National Minute. I'm Evan Simkowitz. Today, I'm joined by Alexis Chasin, who covers the Buckeyes for Land Grant Holy Land, a part of the SB Nation network. Alexis, I'm happy to have you here, and let's get right to it. The offense. Through two games with major offensive numbers, all anyone's talking about is what hasn't happened and what needs to get better. Cardale Jones remains the starter, but I noticed this morning that he has been limited to only 3 touchdowns, and after rushing for 99 yards against Virginia Tech, he now has only 104 total rushing yards on the season. Some pretty major inconsistencies. Where are we in your mind?
I think a big part of that was the offensive line struggles going into week 2. They went from a bare defense with Virginia Tech to a 3-4 defense, and I think with the short week, it really caused some issues making that switch. Taylor Decker did allude to that during his weekly media time, and I think it's something that with this week, them having a full week of practice, they should be able to really come back strong against Northern Illinois.
Yeah, one thing that I think has been overlooked is this is a veteran offensive line, whereas they weren't last year, but still, everyone's saying that, it's been an odd start to the schedule, that Monday night game, preparing for that unorthodox defense, followed by a short week, and then a more conventional defense, which has really just made life not easy for them in preparing for this. But, there's something, at least in my mind, that maybe is missing from Jones's game. What should we be looking for in areas of improvement in the remainder of the non-conference schedule?
For Jones specifically, I think getting the ball out faster will be a big help. And again, with the offensive line providing a better front for him, I could see him also getting more rushing yards throughout the remainder of the season. Barrett will come in occasionally, but I think Jones will keep the starting position the whole year.
And he is just bigger and stronger than anyone else that these defenses have to face, which is just going to give him such an advantage.
Yeah, he will barrel through people.
Yeah, we saw it a lot last year, and
right.
we'll keep seeing it. Turning now to the defense, after the game versus Virginia Tech, senior linebacker Joshua Perry told the media that he said to his teammates at the half, hey, this isn't how we play. And since then, I think there has been a noticeable uptick in their performance. Held Hawaii to 165 total yards, and all week the conversation has been how this defense is leading the charge right now. And it seems that the Silver Bullets are back. Any lingering areas of concern?
I don't know about areas of concern per se, but I think that the defensive line with Bosa back will be stronger, but if they are, talking about limiting his snaps throughout the season, that'll give Sam Hubbard and Darren Lee and Perry a chance to really step in. I think that could give the younger players much more experience.
They did mention assistant head coach and defensive line coach Larry Johnson said on Monday that they're hoping to maybe rein Bosa in a little bit more, have him play maybe 65 snaps as opposed to around 80 where he was for most of last year. But, the force that Bosa is, does him playing less make the team better?
I would think it would make the team better. It would make them more well-rounded, definitely. Urban Meyer was very happy with Sam Hubbard's performance during the Virginia Tech game in Bosa's absence, and I think it would definitely give them more experience going into next season with Bosa projected to go to the NFL draft. It'll be good for the late in this season and then going into next season.
If Bosa's off the field, obviously, Joshua Perry said that there wasn't a noticeable drop-off in performance from Bosa to Sam Hubbard, which I think is tremendous praise. But if, let's say that, I don't know, maybe defenses start to figure them out, long term, is there any slowing down of that defensive line?
I don't think so. I think the depth is just far too great. And, with the recruiting that this coaching staff pulls in each year, it's just going to continue to either get stronger or stay strong.
If there was one area of concern, would it be maybe that over-the-top defense? And you wrote about this earlier this week, but Tyvis Powell seems to have emerged as a leader for the defense, and I'm curious to get your input on that.
Well, aside from his fantastic personality, Tyvis Powell has definitely rallied the defense and become a strong leader for them, especially with he had the big interceptions when they count in 2013 against Michigan to prevent them from coming back for the win. Just last season against Alabama, preventing them from getting more points on the board. I think he is getting more and more confident, and since he already graduated earlier this year, he has a lot more time to focus on football and training and preparing for these different schemes each week.
Where do you think, in your mind, does Powell rank among college safeties?
Probably to the top. I mean, I definitely think he'll go in the NFL draft without a question. Maybe not first or second round, but third or fourth, I could see a definite possibility.
Moving away from the Buckeyes a little bit, a non-football story has emerged since last weekend when 3 SEC coaches took not-so-veiled shots at Ohio State's schedule. Dan Mullen, the head coach at Mississippi State, essentially admitted that he spent time looking at how much Ohio State's alleged easier schedule helps them. And I promised I wasn't going to get angry about this, but this is 3 instances in the last year of power conference coaches getting upset about things happening outside of their conference. You have the Big 12 not being represented in the playoffs, something that a lot of their coaches were upset about. Head coach Lane Kiffin in Alabama complaining about satellite camps, and now this alleged easier schedule complaints. Help me make sense of this.
Well, I think the strength of schedule debate, if you were, is a little silly. Take it back to any given Sunday. That's the same in college football. You have to be prepared for the different schemes regardless of who you are playing, and that can cause anybody any trouble. I mean, just last week, Ohio State did have trouble against Hawaii's defense, and you just can't predict ahead of each week's game what's going to happen. I think it's a little premature for them to stick their neck out like that and criticize a schedule.
Well, for me, the most interesting part was Dan Mullen is an Urban Meyer acolyte. That's number one. Number two, he made some of these comments the Monday following their loss to LSU. But, moreover, to me, there's enough drama in college football without having to make it about something that it's not. And frankly, it's disrespectful to everyone involved. It's disrespectful to the athletes in this program who had to play Monday night and then turn around on a short week and play against Hawaii. And I watched both those games. There was nothing easy about that. If you watched the games, you would know. Hawaii came here, and despite being scored on for 38 points, really played well. Mm-hmm. And in addition to the Buckeyes, it's disrespectful to them. They came 9,000 miles to be told that they just aren't good enough to play. And this is just not in the spirit of college football.
I think it's easy to forget that these players, they're kids, they're college kids and students. And, at some level underneath all the competition, it's a game. And to unfairly judge these quote unquote like lesser teams or easier teams, it's just not fair. And like you said, it's disrespectful.
Yeah, and you said that any given Sunday mentality. Any self-respected college athlete no matter who they're playing against, is going to come in there thinking that they have a chance to win. And I'm sure the Northern Illinois Huskies, who are going to be here on Saturday, believe that they have a really good chance at this game. And they should, because they're athletes. And it's a game.
If they didn't, it wouldn't produce that competition. And most of the time when teams go into a game thinking it's going to be a cake, that's when they struggle the most. They're not focused, they're not prepared, and they can't assume any team's going to be easy. You have to assume they're going to push you to your limits and make you struggle, and you're going to have to work for it.
That's it for this week's National Minute. You can read all of Alexis's coverage of the Buckeyes at landgrantholyland.com. Buckeyes kick off versus Northern Illinois at 3:30 on Saturday. We'll have complete coverage on thelantern.com. For Alexis Chasin, I'm Evan Simkowitz.